Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Coming on here this morning just to share a little thought. And most of it is kind of centered on what I've been sharing. It's like, so no matter how repetitive it may sound, it's, it's a truth that I stand on. So many others represent similar facets of that same truth, but the overwhelming cohesion is that we are facing a great shift in thinking and consciousness and awareness. Many for it, many against it. Truth. But I greet everyone who may come across this video in the greeting universal words of peace. Universal meaning I am going to wish you peace, whether you look exactly like me, whether you're the same shade color, different shade color, or whether you look totally different. It's the exact same energy that I will give to you. Peace. Now, we're a week away from the holidays coming to a grand finale with Christmas and New Year's. And of course, it has been one of those things that it's hard to kind of maintain when you know it's so much phony, fake, uh, disgusting things that are going on, that are happening uh, because of it. And, all of the lying and all of the distortion and confusion. And it's like, how can you even celebrate these days? It's like a whole bunch of faking going on. And, some may be in that zone of peace where they literally are detached from all of it. They can enjoy it. And that's more power, peace to them. That's how we all have to be, who could disconnect from, be in the world, but not of the world. That's the main goal, main focus. But when you trying to, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but you trying to celebrate these things, you try and look at all of the past occurrences, celebrating. It's just like that luster, that feel is no longer there. This system has literally drained many people. People trying to keep up with a Jones that's no longer that's no longer there. And I remember I was talking about this shit like a couple of times about just the religions in itself, and how you don't see. I mean, it's like with all that's going on in the world, what are they representing? It seems like you're only giving certain people something to clinch on to give them hope, but that hope is bound in a box of limitations. Not only limitations, but a bubble as well. You place in a bubble. So now not only are you limited in how are you thinking, but are you also thinking on a level where it's only pertaining to you or those of like mind, and nobody else in that structure can receive any of the gifts or blessings or whatever. And that type of stuff there, that stuff been coming to the light, but it's like more and more now, because you got institutions, you got companies, corporations, you got basically countries, and their whole ideology of their conception of why they were even created, or their founding fathers or mothers or whatever. This is what they created, and all based on, goes back to a religious sentiment. But like I've been saying, I said, just matter of fact, the last session that I got on here ranting, and I was like, they wonder why folks leaving the church and or questioning it, you know, and in other countries in which another religion is the majority, you know, there's questions, there's all type of stuff coming up because a lot of stuff seems to not be making sense. Not only is it not making sense anymore, it's like the whole godliness, the whole righteous outlook that many people get out of these organizations, which is nothing wrong with that, but the whole organization itself is misusing that whole energy, man. Now people are starting to see it for what it really is. I'm gonna go to this story right here. Share the screen. It's crazy. I just said something about this, but now, you know, you seeing so many articles now. Like, since we're in America, we're gonna talk about what's happening here. A mass exodus from Christianity is underway in America. Here's why. Now, this is probably someone's opinion or, you know, whatever about what's going on, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it because um, there is facets of it that's true. I ain't never seen so many people who grew up in Christian households. I know because I grew up in a Christian household. My parents, you know, the whole ordeal, you know, going to church every Sunday, doing this, doing that. I know it. So to see nowadays that you got so many people who grew up under them circumstances uh, are not really into that no more. It's like, what happened? Something that really brought peace to our families, you know, our mothers and fathers, our grandmothers and grandfathers, and so forth and so forth. But yet, it came to a point where a certain generation, like, look, I'm not doing it no more. What happened? What may be the cause of that? And maybe many different sources of why that may be. But in this article, it states while a number of Americans who celebrate Christmas as a cultural holiday is going strong, there have been a shocking rise in the number of people ditching Christianity, what sociologists call nunverts. And of course, um, there has to be uh, a whole bunch of these titles. You know, he can't understand something, or they don't want people, or they want people to look at it all the time in some type of study and all this crap. Then you got to have some scientists. So now you got nunverts. Pew Research Center estimates that Christians will be a minority of Americans by 2070 if current trends continue. It is likely, and it likely will, with the largest percentage of those losing their religion being young adults who are about as old as that REM reference, people around 30 and under. It's kind of a cultural whiplash from religion to secularism that hits the United States much faster than it has other parts of the world, said theology. And maybe that's the reason why. Now I'm just going to look at this part right here. And likely with the largest percentage of those losing their religion being young adults who are about as old as the RAM reference, people around 30 and under. So why would that be that people around 30 and under would be totally um and you know, I'm not saying that everybody is 30 and under. I've seen, you know, I'm seeing people literally my age. I'm 48, literally my age who grew up with these things, who have stepped back or they never really fully got indoctrinated in it because they knew in their 30s that it was something wrong. Now you have younger folks coming around, male, female, who see it a little more fervently. And why would that be? And the whole thing would be, damn, it don't take a rocket science to see all this hypocrisy and all this crap that's been going on. The more indoctrinated a person has been, the more uh, unrealistic a person. I look at it. I see it from my standpoint. What I had to go through, how I've seen shit, how I've been becoming aware of a lot of things. Is, you know, the more indoctrinated you are, And that comes from people around you, that comes from the system you live up under, that comes from the family grouping and the culture that around that, and what was acceptable and whatnot. So, you know, the more indoctrinated, the harder it has been to kind of unplug. And it seemed like it always takes an incident in order to unplug, and you see it for what it truly is. A lot of these incidents had been happening prior to 2020, and where I had already been, for myself personally, even when I was younger, seeing like stuff didn't make. But this is what it's a part of that walk. Some of the things I would say I regret. I regret back then using that energy that I knew wasn't right. That energy that was put out for rebelliousness and for want of truth and all that. That it never materialized in a proper educating manner. All that rebelliousness went toward nonsense. And it's the similar way how a lot of the younger um, nowadays are completely gone. And it's like they have that energy, they have that rebelliousness not to conform or comply with this fake system that is falling apart. But that energy has totally been redirected toward self-destruction. And that's totally what's happening. So maybe that is a reason why so many people, are, like I've stated, are turning away. You have people who claim Christianity, and this is the salvation of for you, and these are the things you have to do to find favor. But yet, these are the same people who have been sitting up here riding along with hypocrites, and it almost looks like mass murderers' agendas that have completely helped to destroy the whole sanity and structure of this planet via economic or health. And we see it. People see this shit. It's no getting out, it's no denying it. People run to these parties and to the political back as a backup. But this is it's the same story. It's the same system. These same political groups and the people that represent these groups, majority the ones who the elites and these people who really have shown they have no fucking care whatsoever about regular people, but yet uh, uh, so many people flock and they legitimize shit when everything they're doing, the whole basic core of it, is totally against a lot of these same Christian principles, morals. And I'm pretty sure when you go into other countries, into the Muslim world and Judaic, it's they're going against some of their moral underpinnings under their religious precepts to a point that now everything is accepted. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna read some more. Let's start with this. Young adults are leading the mass exodus. Bullivant made it clear that it's important not to gloom all young adult non-verts as having one big reason for leaving the church. Each person has a complex story, and we need to recognize the personal journey. He told Grid that said he added there are larger trends we can examine. For example, the largest demographic of nonverts, younger adults will raise their children as nuns, people from non-religious families, as while a tiny percentage of nonverts return religion. Nuns rarely embrace religion at any point in their lives. And they got all these different names, nuns. I mean, come on, man. And I don't even want to. I mean, it's overwhelmingly. I mean, being where I'm at, a lot of times people use what they have always known as a means to give them strength. But when that which you take as strength is being purposely used to misguide, weaken you, yeah, how can you ever attain that strength? I mean, it's blatantly obvious why people are beginning to back up from the religious way of looking at stuff, from the indoctrination. I look at it like this, man. If people represent Christ, then why people aren't really taking on the mantle of that which Christ represented, which is a complete. And I've stated this over and over again. People will probably argue it up and down and go Bible quoting and talking about what Jesus said, this, that, and the third, and it's all totally different than. But my whole thing is everybody that say they represent Christ, the Christ known as Yahshua, Jesus. You know this everything that was brought out, the majority of the teachings and things, everything was to teach everybody some form of empowering themselves. And he was the main example. He was using himself as an example of what a person could really do. Even when it came to walking on water. Hold on a minute. Just did some crazy stuff. Get out of there. Even when it came to walking on water, he was showing the disciples, look, this is what you can do. And what happened? When they got it in their heart that they can do it, not in the mind, or not when they got it in their heart that they can do it. That's where it started. Then they were able to do the same thing that the master was able to do. And the sad thing about it, people think that the master is only relegated to just Yahshua, man. There were many masters across periods of time. For some reason, they was able to do a lot of stuff that probably the rest of the society around them were oblivious to, or they looked at it as special or whatever, but it actually was, he was in tune. But everything that Christ taught, everything that he went against, as far as from on the scale of calling out the corruption in the religious circles at that time, who was really basically the societies were being run by these, not only the religious circles, but the religious circles held sway over the politics, and then you had the governing military industrial complex at that time, which would have been Rome and all that shit, and you know what represented supposedly Pontius Pilate and all them. You had this corrupt alliance and shit back then, and it's evident because even when in the crucifixion, when Pontius Pilate, when Jesus was on trial for his life, for crimes that those he loved, those he represented, and he came from amongst, were beckoning his destruction for, because they had no proper understanding. They were so caught up under the rules and guidelines of those religious secular groups and the stuff they had distorted, and Jesus came to clean it up. And because the people didn't have no understanding, they were so indoctrinated with the Pharisees and the Sadducees and whatever, they totally couldn't see it that way. And instead of dialoguing or having they literally moved toward destroying and taking someone's life with the help of the military industrial complex at that time, which was the Roman Empire. I mean, this is right there. When he was on trial, Pontius Pilate was ready to let Jesus go, and said, "Look, this man here was stealing and robbing and doing stuff. And this man here ain't done nothing. He just been around here teaching." But yet the people still wanted Jesus to die. I mean, what sense does that make? What sense did that make back then? And what sense would that make now with that same mentality in different forms? And that's what's happening, man. People are sick of this the hypocrisy, the madness. Youth are seeing their parents and grandparents struggle and deal with all type of nonsense, not just from within their own social standings. If you black and in the neighborhoods and wherever you from across the country, you seeing this stuff. You seeing the good, the bad, but you seeing a lot of stuff, and a lot of it may go unspoken of, may be held deep in someone's heart, and they don't speak on it because if they speak on it, it might show a sign of weakness around those around you, which people got to give that shit up. Got to stop caring about what other people think. Got to start doing what is best for oneself, spiritual, in your spiritual walk. But I mean, it's blatantly there. There is no way around it. And I just wanted to get on here and share that. I seen this and was like, look, everything motherfucker keeps saying based on I mean, the stuff is happening. People want to put it in the background and act like it doesn't exist. Like a lot of people right now, it's so disingenuous, even to a person that claims to be educated and enlightened in the teachings of Jesus Christ, to sit and neglect. I mean, I'm just gonna be real. Christ didn't teach people to be stupid. He wasn't teaching people to be stupid. I mean, that's literally some shit that this stuff had to been incorporated into some truths to make people grab onto this shit like it's part of it, and it's totally not. Didn't teach people, wasn't teaching people, wasn't intending on people to be stupid. And that's exactly what a lot of people have been doing with a lot of this stuff. And if people disagree or whatever, it's all good. But how would you ever find out? I mean, my thing is, why don't you ask the Pope and ask the Vatican and ask all these so-called religious organizations, the core of them, why certain information on stuff is always hidden? Why, if this here is supposed to benefit me spiritually in my walk and grant me salvation and eternal life through the doctrines that are expressed through whatever religion it may be. But since we're right here focused on Christianity, we're going to stay with Christianity. Why are there so much stuff that has been repressed, suppressed? Why are books not included in all these supposed books of spiritual advancement? Why? Why? That should be the. If I want salvation, I want to be have eternal life. I want to live in peace in the love of God. That means I want all information that goes with that. How do you think you're gonna get that with partial information, partial understandings? I never understood that. And that was part of it long time ago when I was still young. Like, why would even when I was in Sunday school class, why would that even be how could this even be of any true consequence if you're not getting the full story? If you got the Vatican saying we holding these books, or if you got this group over here suppressing this information, or this, let's say, for example, the hidden years of Jesus. Why the lapse in his ministry between him being a young child as a carpenter, helping his dad as a carpenter, all the way up to his reemergence in his 30s. Where is all that information, and why would that stuff be hid out of the light if a person is only supposed to accept what is been given, what has been sanctioned? That's the whole deal, man. If you can't get the full, unadulterated, unequivocal truth, meaning all the information that goes along with that stuff, how the hell can you make a conclusive decision on this is what is right? Not only for oneself, but then you take it a step further and say this is what's right for those around me. See, that's why we're at the stage that we're at. And I just wanted to get on here and speak on that because in the religious aspect, people gotta understand just as much as what's going on in the political aspect, what's going on in the health and areas and all that stuff. It's all intertwined. It's all very important, and it's all totally anti-human agendas wrapped all up in it. I never would think, and this is something that I've said before. I never would think that people that were so entrenched on Revelations and what Book of Revelation said, and this and that and all that, and how much a person is going to do this, and so much emphasis on the mark of the beast and this, and I'm not getting doing this, but yet over the last couple of years, there's been so much that exhibits those same characteristics implied in the Book of Revelations. And I don't need to have the Bible right here going to those scriptures there. People that don't know, they know exactly where to go, and they ain't like this stuff is new. But in the Book of Revelation, when they talk about the 3 6s and the mark of the beast and all this stuff, and then people go along with all these different interpretations and stuff. Who's to say who's right, who's wrong? But the point is, the whole sense of urgency around that whole topic of the mark of the beast, and yet over the last couple of years, you literally had people that screaming how much they are with this certain cause, but then these folks literally have introduced the beast to everybody, and people are fighting to keep it. I mean, I never would. Maybe 30 years ago, I probably would never, but as time went on, I seen it coming. But people gotta understand, man, this is not what folks really think has been going on, and it's more. I'm so thankful for people who are getting out here speaking on things, and not only that, but for the awareness and discernment within itself, um, that is allowing a person to see the world through a different lens than once before. And when you start seeing the world through a different lens, you start seeing all the intricate things that maybe a person has thought about even when they were younger, or wondered why this happened, or wondered why this always go like this, or why this never made sense. You start seeing it and start putting two and two together with research, with leaning to your intuition, leaning on to what God is revealing through information, through other people, through prayer, through meditation, and you start seeing what's happening, an unveiling of secret the truths that have always been here, but it's just people been too distracted, myself included, to even have a simple time to just really meditate on it and just start to unwrap it. The worst thing that these folks could have done was really sign their own death warrant. And I'm talking about those interests that are totally against humanity at this moment. All this crap that's been going on over the last couple of years has been totally manipulated and brought about. That's my opinion. People may have other interpretations or opinions of what they think it was, but in my opinion, all this stuff was done deliberately And it was done because this group of has a certain awareness. They have certain information on things that many of people don't. And through all those lockdowns and everything, and you know, having people at home, many people have chosen, instead of sitting home and looking at bullshit all day long or gossiping, or many people have decided to research and look at things and get closer to the creator in their own way or whatever. Now these people have been awakened to certain stuff that that maybe if 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they may have not have seen or had the time to do, because it always was work. It always was do this, do that. We got to handle this, and you never had opportunity. That is what these players have been doing and anticipating throughout the whole time. Keep everybody focused on distracted away, and never had opportunity to step outside that box. So, in a nutshell, you know, more and more articles like this. Probably some gonna be including Islam and Islamic countries and the stuff that's happening over there. I've seen something sad in Iran about one of those protesters who helped start that movement over there against their corrupt governments. He was murdered or executed by the Iranian government, saying because he helped facilitate or start some of those protests, which were legitimate protests, and that's legitimately taking somebody out because of speaking against an overwhelming truth. You know, Government sanctioned assassinations, and then while the same creeps that's calling for it, they break all type of laws, and they never answer for it. But there is one that knows all and sees all, understands all. I mean, you can't get away from that, and all that stuff gonna be brought back around. But to bring it all to a close, people, please, it's something that a person needs to understand, that without looking at things in a total different perspective, and start understanding that is way more stuff to the to this story than that has always been told. Then you can begin to move and try and look for answers, or seek those answers. And you have to do it in a way in which you have to open your heart to maybe understanding some things that you may have understood or thought was it's not right, wasn't right, or maybe it was just a portion and the rest of the stuff was left out. So, of course, people are seeing this stuff in religion and all this stuff, politics. You seeing people saying fuck both these parties, fuck what they're talking about. Well, and then those that argue about well, I'm still gonna vote because they're or whatever. It don't matter who you vote for, but person want to do that and feel safe in doing that, continue to do it. Just understand that with that happening, we'll never have the peace that people pray they want and pray that we deserve, to be honest. We'll never have the unity that we deserve. We'll never have none of that until all these issues with all this lying, all the stuff that has been suppressed, all the knowledge that's being kept from the masses across the planet, but it's being harbored and used for whatever means that we are being kept from by those that are really running the show according to bullshit, and got everybody hanging, by threads, clinging for, man, that is not the system that Christ wanted people to stand for or speak up for. Man, Christ called out shit on both sides. called out hypocrisy, both sides, called out the wrongdoings that were being done by those that were manipulating the people, stealing from them. And then they had the nerve to add some crap. And a person can believe that all they want to. My opinion, that's crap that was added to the scriptures, just like a lot of stuff had been added, certain stuff been taken out. You know, if they take stuff out, then you know they're adding stuff. So why would Jesus explain or say, give unto Caesar's what, give unto God what is due and give unto Caesar? So you give unto God, you give unto the Father what is due, and then you give unto Caesar, who represents nothing but evil. And you give Caesar a due, even though you know it's against your heart. Nonsense. That's total nonsense. That's be submissive to your masters and all this crap that was used to help enslave not only physical slaves, but also mental slaves, spiritual slaves, to untruths. So, you know, to each their own, but, you know, I send out much love to everybody. Pray that everybody have a blessed holiday, get through this stuff, get to the new year, and more truth, more peace, more all that stuff become online for more people, become aware of what's happening, no matter what age. Shit, you know, it's sad, and as controversial as a lot of stuff has been made to be, I mean, it all boils down to a simple answer solution that a lot of people don't want. For a lot of years, I looked at it as nonsense myself, but it's the reality that I stand on right now. There will be no getting through this until everybody understand that we have to come together as a whole, as a group, void of all these titles and labels, and stand on truth, stand on reasonable, logical truth, and on what is in our heart and spirit. Many people do have wickedness and messed up stuff in their heart, and their spirit might be leading them to that type of stuff. I'm not talking about them. Maybe they need to go through more stuff to wake up and see what's going on. But the ones who really know, really see in their heart, like, come on, man, you have to follow that voice. That's God. That's God. That's the Father. Giving people telling people and giving people an opportunity to invest in that little small voice, the intuitive notion that's saying, look, and people got to come together and call out not only the corruption in these governments all across the planet, they got to call out all these people that have been sitting up here promoting it, maintaining it, and pushing it on everybody at the expense of the ignorance masses who purposely have been kept from certain information and certain truths that have been out here the whole fucking time. There's no way a motherfucker can tell me that these folks are that they have legitimate reasons on why the Vatican has so much shit hid, why different museums, you know, the Smithsonian, why they got so much stuff under wraps, why certain secret societies and groups had their hands on certain shit and they won't let nobody know, but you just keep going doing what you're doing. And I'm guaranteeing you that these fake powers, these so-called people who want to be gods over everybody and have everybody fighting and infighting and thinking that everything is there's a lack in everything, and that there's too many people everywhere, overpopulation, and there's not enough this and there's not enough that. You guarantee they're not going through none of this stuff. They haven't been having to deal with no electric bill hikes. They haven't. I'm talking about the real. I ain't talking about these phony balonies that just walking along acting like they part of the crew and they really not. I'm talking about the real people behind these false folks that's do you think these folks really no, they don't have to deal with none of that shit. They know the science about all this stuff that's been hidden. All throughout history, that's all they've been doing, destroying knowledge. It ain't just been black history being destroyed, and black everybody's history. All knowledge all across the damn planet has had some form of erasing. From Asia to Africa to here, they have been erasing shit. They have been purposely destroying libraries that held ancient knowledge and ancient secrets, destroying it, or if not destroying it, telling everybody they destroyed it, and then take all that was there and hold it somewhere and abstracting that which is needed for their own benefit while everybody else come along and like, oh, come on, man. I stand firm on belief, and that's just from my man back. There was a period of time on this planet. Every time, and this is something every time I come outside, I smell the air and I just breathe in the air. I just think about being on this planet and like, you know, as I breathe that air in, take a breath, standing outside, looking at the trees, looking at the buildings, looking at the grass, they just thinking like, what the hell was it? What were people doing 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, who were breathing in the air on the same planet? What were they really seeing? What were they really witnessing? What was really happening? You know, and that's something that kind of gets me every time. It's like what was really going on, because these folks have been lying and been holding stuff back, and it don't take a rocket scientist, but if people don't have the opportunity to go do have the time to look into things on their own, man, they'll never break away because there'd be too much in that cycle, and it's almost like that whole I have hamsters. So I know how that hamster wheel works. It's just like you on that hamster wheel. You just running and running, and you with no direction, you just running. And the only and all you got to do to stop it is just get off the wheel. Just get off the wheel. But that's how they do stuff. And now you see why a lot of stuff is the way it is. But I just want to get on here and share that. I'm gonna get off of here. And I like to leave in the green words of peace that everyone will continue to be blessed, at peace, have an open mind, and look into stuff because you may be on the road to enlightenment and not even understand it. That's what people need nowadays: enlightenment. Even while shit falling apart around us, this is the whole point. So at that, I greet you in the green word of peace.